In the previous episode, I began my passage up the east coast of Queensland by sailing to Pancake Creek just past Busted Head. Here I sail overnight north past Cape Capricorn and the Keppel Islands to another river estuary anchorage called Port Clinton. I wanted to keep moving, so set out in strong conditions of typical southerly wind and waves, using only the jib. Alright, now we're out here and things are lively as expected. It's probably blowing 20 or thereabouts, and it was a bit too much for the full jib. It backed a couple of times and then slammed back full, and not really need that kind of stress on the rigging. So I backed it down. I've taken in about, I don't know, a third of it maybe. Now we're all very nice and stable, doing 5 to 6 knots. Over there is the port of Gladstone, and there's a whole bunch of ships that we need to avoid here. They're all anchored out waiting to load coal. I guess they send it all to China, I don't know. But we have a pretty decent sea state. The waves are a little bit messy, but they've been blown, well, it's been blown for 3 days, so getting organized. Every now and again a train of 3 or 4 big ones catches us and we surf and slew around, but hey, nothing more than what we've done before. So it's looking good. Gonna go around Cape Capricorn, I think, and head up to the Keppel Islands, probably an overnighter. Nice swell. Just lift up over it. Nice little surf out of that one. This one's about 3 meters high. And up we go and surf. Nice. And then a little bit smaller for the third one. Nice. Sweet, sweet surf. We're doing about 5 knots, 7 in the surfs. Not in a hurry. I could put up more sail, but nah. It's comfortable this way. It's safe. Nothing dramatic happening. Threading our way through this anchorage here. This is clearly not a coal carrier. I'm not sure what exactly it would carry. Another one in front of us looks more like a coal carrier, but who knows. You can see 2 more huge bulk carriers over there. And then on the horizon I can count at least another 10 will go through this afternoon. Boy, we're in a busy port out here. You can see they have stretched their anchor chain. Look at that. You seldom see an anchor chain on a big ship. It doesn't go straight down. It's about 100 feet deep here. So they must have, I don't know, at least several hundred feet of chain out. Like all the others, this bulk carrier was empty and riding high, although it was not obvious which of the colors was the waterline when loaded. And again their chain was stretched out at 45 degrees. I had cell reception as there is nothing to impede the signal from land, so I was able to monitor the winds using my Wind Alert app, which showed that around Cape Capricorn, as recorded on Brundle Island just offshore, it was blowing consistently 30 knots with higher gusts. I had skipped 2 possible anchorages near Gladstone and was now committed to an overnight sail in increasingly rough conditions, leading to one of the toughest nights of the season. Oh, the sun's going down and we're approaching Cape Capricorn, getting into the tropics. But it is pretty wild and woolly out here. And once we get round this island here next to the Cape, called Brundle Island, we'll be able to bear off a little bit more. That should make things more comfortable. Right now, it's pretty uncomfortable. So, yeah, we're surviving. Oh, there's a bad one. From my contemporaneous blog post. That turned out to be one of the more crazy nights of my life. The wind and waves kept building all night until we were down to a sliver of the jib out, basically running under bare poles.
Sea Change handled it all remarkably well as we stayed on a broad reach the whole time and pretty much the same course of 340 degrees, slightly west of north. This course took us outside most of the islands and then inside the last two. I napped with my phone with the iSailor chart open next to me, with alarms for the appropriate time we might near an island. The motion was extreme, bumping from side to side with occasional hard slewing when a wave turned us sideways. And the shriek of the wind in the rigging, the roar of breaking waves, and miscellaneous creaking and banging in the cabin were constant. The wind vane did an amazing job, but about 5 times we got sideways to the wind and lost motion through the water, which is required for the wind vane rudder to be effective. Then we would roll wildly with the waves, so each time I was up quickly to get her back on course. A few hours before dawn we started having squalls come through, and in them we would surf on the waves to 7 or even 8 knots, which was crazy with almost no sail out. Plus they had driving rain coming right into the back of the boat through the companionway and to me in bed, which served as notice to get up and put the companionway boards in, close the hatch, and watch and wait to make sure Sea Change handled the squall. Eventually first light came, and the scene was amazing. Huge waves, about half of them breaking, as we passed between the final 2 islands and the mainland.
It's coming dawn, and there's a refuge an hour or so ahead of us. So that's what we're aiming for. After one of the wildest nights of sailing in my life, we come into this anchorage called Port Clinton, which is an army war games place that you're not even allowed to get off the boat. And I come in a massive squall which has just gone through, and so you can see the beautiful rainbow left. Wow, it's a brilliant, brilliant rainbow. Well, this should be interesting.
Here is the chart of Port Clinton in a large area called the Shoalwater Army Training Area, and you're not supposed to go ashore. And here is our anchorage in satellite view.
It's an estuary, much like Pancake Creek, and once again I'm anchored close to the bank here. This is it dries. It was full tide when I came in, so you couldn't see any of this. The water was right to the level of the mangroves up there. You can see the water line at high tide on the mangroves. This mud flat was all covered, but yeah, I'm in a good spot, anchored about 15-20 feet. Still got pretty strong trades here, plus we have squall after squall after squall coming through. There's going to be wind noise on here, but you can see one going through way in the distance there. Wow, what a relief to get in here. And I slept. I was so tired. This is Mount Fitzroy. Pretty cool. Alright, correction. This is Mount Flinders. Fitzroy was the capital of the captain of the Beagle with Darwin on board. And a bunch of places are named for him. There's Fitzroy Reef, Fitzroy Island, Fitzroy this, that and the next. But Flinders was the guy who, long time after Cook, circumnavigated Australia and did a lot of extra mapping and sounding throughout the coasts of Australia. So Flinders, Mount Flinders.
The tidal ranges along this coast become more extreme as one goes further north, and here it was already 4.5 meters or 15 feet. Again, we moved around a lot on anchor with the incoming and outgoing tides, but this time we did not do any circles.
Well, Sunday the 7th of July. The squalls are mostly gone. There's a few left, but we have beautiful, gorgeous blue sky, and now with the high tide covering the flats right up to the mangroves, it's really pretty. But it is still blowing really hard in here and out there, so I am not going to go today. I definitely need to go tomorrow. I'm running really, really late here. I've got 2 weeks to get to Cairns, so it can be done. Just instead of 4, 3 and 2 days in one place, it's going to have to be 1 day. Oh man, it is blowing hard. I wish I could go kiting. Oh well.
Taking advantage of the high tide, I dinghied over these mudflats and up the channel to the east, and then up the tiny creek to the southeast until the mangroves closed over. Then I drifted back with the breeze and tidal outflow taking me silently along, and saw my first saltwater crocodile, about 5 feet long, glide past the dinghy just below the surface. I was now on a schedule because, having changed my port of entry from Townsville to Bundaberg to avoid strong conditions on the route to Townsville, I was now far south, plus had spent over a week just getting this far north. It was now July 8th, and I needed to be in Cairns, at the top of this image, by July 23rd to fly to Seattle for our 30th wedding anniversary and Gabriel and Amy's wedding. So most stops from now on would be 1 day at most. So in the next episode, I visit Percy Island for just an afternoon.